All right, guys, welcome into War Dog Coaching Show live here from Red Robertson Field. Joined tonight by Coach Gardner and senior linebacker slash running back Tanner Maple. Welcome aboard, Tanner. First time to go at this, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Go. Yep.
Did Coach warn you about anything or
No.
no?
Just gonna take it as it goes.
He usually don't struggle trying to say too much, so he's pretty natural.
All right, so we'll jump right in here. Got a little bit of a late start tonight because I was up here messing with some new cameras and changed some settings I probably shouldn't have changed. And we got them back in the right spot now, so we're ready to go. Coach was threatening to fall asleep here, waiting on us, but we finally got it going. And tonight we're up here at the stadium. Lights are on. Looks good out here. The rain's kind of quit for us right now, but we're going to jump into last week's ball game. And so, Coach, going into that ball game, how'd you guys feel?
Well, I mean, we're still pretty banged up both sides of the ball right now, and we're just struggling trying to compete week in and week out. And we knew it was one of the games we deemed winnable, preseason and knew anticipating what Cleveland had and the district being down a little bit and things. And had we been healthy and had a little bit more more morale about ourselves, I feel like it's a very winnable game. And the big turning point was our kids competed well early, and we're down 19-12 and possibly going in on the south end zone on a potential scoring drive that ties the ball game, and we fumbled the ball on the 2-yard line.
Right.
And then we turn the ball over there, and they go on a 98-yard 14-point swing scoring drive that puts them up 26-12 versus possibly 19-19 or whatever scenario might have been after the PAT. But that was kind of the backbreaker for us because we faced so much adversity here lately that the kids, we get behind the 8 ball extremely, bad. We tend to fold up our campsite and turn it in. And we faced a lot of things early in that game. As far as we had 4 starters out to start the game. Matt Horn gets ejected on a flagrant play on a potential fight. They ejected him. Tanner gets his ankle pretty rolled up, banged up early and got rolled up on, and we were limited in the middle. We got our 2 starting linebackers out on top of the 4 kids that didn't start the game. So you're talking about 4 starters turning into 6, and these aren't just 6 one-way guys. They're 2 3-way guys as far as special teams and things go. So I felt like from the staff's perspective, we competed pretty well and gave ourselves a chance, and then that was kind of the backbreaker when we talk about the 14-point swing going into halftime there.
Yeah, we said the same thing on the air. You punch that one in right there, you tie the ball game going into halftime. That gives you guys the momentum and kind of sucks a little air out of Cleveland because, I think they probably coming in here thinking, hey, we're going to get this win, we're going to make the playoffs, because – of course, looking at Miami, they should have probably thinking, they're down. They
had our two films with Gavin out and things like that, and we did struggle, missed him quite a bit. But like we talked about, we felt like Carson did a good job, especially for what he was thrown into. But they did look at us like that, maybe overlooked us a little bit, but they knew from their perspective too is they had to have that win because there's several different playoff scenarios that could happen with that 3-4 spot in the district, and then they're finishing this week playing Wagner.
Right.
So
they knew they had to have that.
They knew they had to have that one. So
in that first half, Gavin throws a couple really nice balls, and Swingle catches them and converts them into touchdowns. With Gavin being out 2 or 3 weeks there out of practice. Really, a couple nice balls he threw there.
Yeah, he potentially missed 3 weeks of practice, 2 weeks of games, and he stepped back in and had some pretty good rhythm. And then we were out with the threat of Damian not out there, and then Seth had a career night. 185 yards receiving. So.
Right. Yeah, he caught a couple big balls there in that first half. Really kind of kept that game tight.
Oh, it did. It kept us in the game.
I think it probably kind of shell shocked Cleveland.
Well,
bit.
the first route on their sideline over there, where he's able to keep his balance and turn it into a score was probably one of the greatest plays I've seen him make as far as just the concentration of the catch and things and precision of Gavin's pass. Couldn't have been missed by much of more of a margin, as far as he just dropped the dime right there, and that was a big third down play as well. So we're trying to move the sticks, and it turns into a scoring play.
Yep. And then the play down here on the south end you're just talking about, well, that one hurt. I mean, because you're getting ready to go in, score, tie that thing up, or potentially tie it up with the extra point, and then for that fumble to happen, and that's happened to us several times this year. That you'll be on on a drive where you look like you're going to score on the other end, and the ball gets coughed up inside the red zone, and that's just got to be tough.
That's why you play every play. I mean, that's part of it. I mean, like, defensive mindset is if we can make them snap it one more time, they got a chance to mess up. Instead of giving up like we have defensively, instead of giving up them 40, 60, 80-yard touchdown plays, if we can tackle them one more time, make them snap it one more time. That's what happens when good defenses do to offenses.
Now on the Matt Horn play. It was on the far side of the field. We really didn't see what happened from the booth here. We actually didn't even know he got ejected. We saw that he came to the sidelines, but we didn't know that he got ejected until one of the fans messaged us and said, "Hey, what Horn get ejected for?" That's when we kind of realized, he did get ejected.
I mean, just one of them guys that's kind of retaliation type deal. And second guy gets caught. I mean, I can't say enough good things about Matt and what he's done to this program. As far as just the progression he's made in 2 years that I've been here, he's always been an undersized guy playing interior, and he made a tackle downfield, probably a 20, 25-yard gain from the offense, and he's hustling, and he gets the kid rolled up, and as the kid's coming up, he gets Matt a little cheap shot, and then Matt retaliates, and they didn't get them, but they seen Matt because it's a learning from our younger kids here at Miami and things is. It hurts Matt. It affects him in a very negative way that he don't even get to play his last game of his career, and just because of that ejection. So
that was my next question: if he's going to be out this week, because of that. Normally he wouldn't have been, but it was a punch, right?
Well, they turned it in as a fight. So yeah, I mean, flagrant foul or something like that. He would have missed the rest of the game, but they called it a punch and a fight, and so. It all determines on terminology and how they turn into the state, and that's the way it was. I was educated on Saturday by email. That's how they turned it in. So I mean, it's not really one of them deals. A big time deal. We could possibly appeal it and reduce the consequences to one game, but all we have left is one game. So
right. What is it normally?
2 games suspension.
2, okay.
Yep.
So we're definitely going to be without Matt this week. So. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the second half first, and we'll get to that in a minute. But so you go in at halftime, you come out, Cleveland receives to start the second half. So really that 14-point swing, we stopped them on that opening drive, though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. So, but potentially you had to coming out. But as the game went on, they just kind of pulled away.
Just momentum and our morale was still down, and their momentum still stayed on their side. We didn't convert offensively, and they kind of got to rolling offensively and started doing some things that we weren't stopping, tackling in space and things, and that's when they just kind of took over the game.
Yeah. Now, did you see anything in that game that you wasn't expecting, or?
No, everything was. I mean, they did the same thing offensively, scheme-wise, that they've done and had success with everybody. I mean, Uligal and things like that. That was a big win for them. So I was shocked that Grove got them, but Grove's doing some good things as well right now. So.
Yeah, I think Grove's got better as the season has progressed.
Yep.
And from what I've seen, I mean, I haven't really sat and watched their games, but by the scoreboard, it seems that they're getting better as the season goes on down there. So at the end of the ball game, of course, it didn't turn out our way, and I don't even remember what the final score was.
52-19.
52-19. So we didn't score in the second half. Well, yeah, we did.
We did.
We scored one. Yeah.
Yep. Late in the fourth.
And so for us, we gave Gavin Payton and Seth Swingle the offensive players of the game, and then we gave Clay McCormick defensive player of the game. And, of course, Tanner could always be there as well.
Yeah, he was limited on time and mobility. He just never could get over that. I mean, he gives us a big spark offensively at times and gives us some bursts of energy, and you never doubt his effort or anything on either side of the ball, but he was just so limited Friday night. I mean, I talked to him personally, and I apologized and said, we'd feed you some right now, but you just can't go. And he he specifically said I can't go as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah, and if Tanner Maple's telling you that, then you know
right, yeah,
it's fact. Yeah, because Tanner does definitely give us everything he's got every time he goes out. I know us here in the booth, we appreciate that, and I know the people in the stands do as well.
Thank you.
And
he's definitely gonna be one that's missed.
so Tanner, when Coach talked about you being limited. How's that ankle feeling now?
It's still sore, but I mean it's getting better as this week goes on.
You tape it heavily and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yes.
Does Leland come to practices and do the taping, or the coaches do it at practice?
Either myself or Leland typically tape day in and day out. He has a pretty busy schedule, taking some schooling as well. But he's great. And he does everything he can to be there to help us out.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he came to practice or not, but that's a pretty cool deal.
95% of the time he's there.
Does he stay through the whole practice as well?
Just depends on his schedule. I mean, he tries to see about our kids and injuries and gives us updates, and then either he leaves and takes care of some personal things, or depends on if he's helping out with the hospital or this and that. But most of the time he spends his time with us.
So Tanner, when you guys go in the locker room, and you guys just had that fumble down there on the 2, and then they marched down the score.
Right.
How do you guys, as a team, how's it going in the locker room?
I really can't remember enough to tell you. I'm always out of it. I'm zoned out or something, thinking about what I done wrong or what I did right.
Yeah.
Just trying
Most of
to
the time it's
figure
what he
out.
did wrong.
Yeah. A lot of times.
No, like I said, Tanner, you see it down in and down out in his motor runs, and he's pretty spent. I mean, his halftime, it's not. He never has anything negative to say. I will say that about him. But as far as just being bouncing around and things like that, he's pretty dragging by the time we get to 2 quarters in.
Right. Yeah, I love watching you run the ball, and because you, for a bigger kid,
Yeah.
you
Fat
really.
boy.
Well, I can't call anybody that. So.
I love watching him run the ball. Besides the way he carries the ball.
Yeah, you do carry it out there a little bit. But your burst of speed, you have a burst of speed that kind of catches some people off guard, I think, sometimes. And it's right through the line of scrimmage. And I think that's probably where he gets most of his yardage.
I think he has good vision. He
Yeah.
really does. I mean, he has some natural vision that he sees some holes, and he's pretty quick getting there.
Right. Yeah, so I appreciate the effort you give. We don't miss it a bit up here. I mean, we see every bit of it, and
Gotcha.
and we appreciate the effort you put in.
Thank you.
And you've been rewarded by player of the game on both sides of the ball for us. Special teams player of the game. I think we only gave out one special team player of the game this year, and you got it too. So I think pretty much every week you're on one or the other,
Yeah.
and that right there shows the effort that you put in. And Clay McCormick's there a lot as well, and that's another effort guy that
Yep.
puts in a lot of effort. And I seen both you guys last week limping,
Oh,
and you'd see them right back out there.
They're going to play through it. I mean,
Yeah.
knock on wood that Tanner stayed as healthy as he has. I mean, had he, he's potentially even a better player than what he is today if he don't suffer that knee injury week 2 last year.
Right.
So, really, he's been limited basically 2 seasons of high school football in a roundabout way.
Right. Okay, so we'll put Cleveland behind us, and then we'll look forward to this week's game, Friday night down at Bristow. And I think Bristow's ranked 4.
3 or 4, depending on
4.
what poll.
So I know you guys watch film on them, and you know what you're going to expect. I know limited. What I know is they got a lot of speed. They're very
Definitely.
talented. A lot of the skill positions.
Probably the best defensive offensive front we've seen by far this year, too.
Well, that's a pretty good statement
Yep.
with some of the teams we played.
Yep.
They have guys that play both sides of that offensive and defensive line.
Yes, but they have numbers in their favor as well. I mean, they have plenty of depth, and they're pretty set in stone what they're going to do, and just a lot of misdirection, which they've been comfortable with that offense. It's kind of like a tradition offense, what they do, but they can pretty much say we're going to run it right here, see if you're good enough to stop us.
Right. So is it kind of a wing tee with that type of motion?
Right, yeah, like
Okay.
a wing, single back type stuff with a lot of misdirection, some trap, and things like that. A lot of quarterback run.
So are they balanced? They run the ball more than they pass it, or
They definitely run the ball. I would say 80-20, but when they finally hit you with the pass, it's because they've lulled you to sleep with the run. So you really have to play assignment football on the back end, or they're going to hit you with home runs because your eyes are in the backfield.
Right. Yeah. And we've got caught with that
Oh yeah,
a time or two,
Yeah.
and so I can see that probably.
they're good at what they do. I
Right.
mean, you don't take anything from them. They we feel like we're one of the, if not the toughest district in the state. You know, a lot of classes as far as depth. I feel like possibly down this year compared to what I've seen over the last few years, but them to beat Wagner in the convincing way they did, 30-7. That says something. There's something pretty special going on there.
Yeah, when I saw that score, I was like, "Oh man, that was."
But they've had success in more things than football. These kids carry over to track speed as well. They have a great relay team.
Didn't they win state championship relay last year or something?
Yeah,
They
and
got
one of
those.
them, yeah.
They got those kids
They were
back.
juniors last
Yeah.
year. Yeah,
So that's going to be a problem because speed's something that really
yeah,
really has hurt us this year. Is
yeah.
we don't have really the speed that a lot of
Right.
these teams have.
Team speed's a great asset to have and hard to coach.
Well, we had Chad Davis up here in the third quarter, and I think John asked him how you teach speed, and Chad said he had a plan.
Yeah,
No, he didn't. He said, "Man, if I knew that, I'd be a rich man."
yeah.
And he said that's just one of them gifts that God gives you.
Genetically,
Yeah,
we you can make someone faster, but you can't teach speed.
right. So you say they run the ball a lot. They're track guys. Are they in the backfield, or are they at
Oh, yeah.
wide receiver? Are they both? Or?
Yeah, they're spread out. I mean, I don't know which kid's which as far as where he plays in the leg of the relay or all that, but their backfield's very capable of scoring on any down, and the receivers they get off the ball, especially when they know the ball's coming their way. But like I said, they're good at what they do.
So, and you guys practiced on the turf quite a few times this week,
We've been here quite a few times the last 2 weeks, just the fact that it's been available.
right?
But
And-
I mean, we're going to play on a grass field, and probably with the way the rain's looking right now, it's probably going to be a muddy surface, which don't hurt us any.
Right.
I mean, the fact that maybe
that actually helps us.
Yeah.
If it rains like 10 inches tomorrow night, that would probably be a bonus. I didn't realize they were a grass field. So,
they're one of the few we play on.
yeah, it is. I figured Bristow would have a turf field.
No, not yet.
Well, I'll pray for rain then, because that'll help us really.
It sure won't hurt us any.
Yeah. I remember one year that when I was a junior, we went and played Tulsa McLean, and they were a top 5 ranked team, and Miami wasn't ranked, and Miami goes in and beats them 7-0, and it was a pouring rainstorm on a grass field, and they couldn't outrun them, and Miami come out there with a win.
Yeah.
And it was the rain and the mud was the great equalizer that night,
Right.
and thought we were going to die before we got out of there, but we did make it. But yeah, so that changes a few things in if you can get them on a grass field when it's pretty wet. So because that field can get tore up in a hurry
Yeah,
and be a
definitely.
muddy mess. So we're wearing white.
Well, we'll wear white tops. We'll probably wear dark bottoms, just the
Yeah.
fact that one of them try to come back clean.
Yeah, because it's going to be them whites will be brown by the time we're done. So Tanner, whenever you guys practice this week, everything good? You guys practice good? You feel good about it?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun this week. It was kind of a more laid-back week, but we got to hit and just have fun with what we were doing. Did something, I can't remember what it was called. It was fun. We got to knock the crap out of each other pretty much and just enjoy our last week,
Right. So, as a senior, going into your last ball game as a War Dog,
Right.
what do you got to say about that? How do you feel about that?
I got a clue. There you go. Hit somebody, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you feel like, wow, this is it?
Yeah.
Or, have you seniors, I think I asked Jack this last week, have you seniors kind of got together and talked about what it's going to be like that last time?
No, not really.
Yeah. I know last week, it was your last home game.
Right.
Yeah, I know you guys did the walk.
Yeah.
Do you know where that started at?
No, I don't.
I don't either. I don't remember if it's been going on for a long time. I know it has been for the last couple of years, but I'm not sure where that started at. But kind of a cool little tradition that got started.
Yeah.
So what time you guys heading out Friday?
We'll leave school at 1:45. Pretty good little haul. Take a little pit stop in Tulsa area and try to get there. 2:45 before the game, something like that.
The game starts 7:30.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. It used to be 7:30s, didn't it? I like the 7:30s better. Makes it easier for me to get there. But 7 o'clock in Bristow. I have the address of the field. I don't remember where I put it, but you can Google it. That's why I found it. I Googled the address for Bristow's high school football field, and it'll get you there. So if you can be there, please be there. The kids will need you in the stands. They want you in the stands. If it's raining, they have ponchos. They have
It's not
umbrellas.
supposed to rain, I don't believe.
It's not.
I don't think so.
We just got to pray for rain all day tomorrow.
It's supposed to just be cooler weather. I think it's
Yeah.
supposed to quit by 6 in the morning, but supposed to be high in the 40s, and then Friday wake up and low of 26 or something.
Be good football weather. That'll hurt if you hit somebody like that, Tanner.
Yeah, it would.
That kind of changes the ball a little bit too, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, the ball
Get harder.
don't travel as well, and it's a tougher catch and tougher handle and everything,
Yeah.
especially if it's wet too. On top of that,
Right. So, we'll take everything we can get.
Yeah.
To help us out. But I would love to see our War Dogs go down there and surprise these guys. And I think you guys can do it. I think you guys have the toughness to. And I went back to this several times this year, but if you guys play defense like you did that first ball game, you guys can beat anybody on our schedule. That first ball game against Claremore Sequoia, you guys played the best defense I've seen around here in a long time. You guys are flying around, hitting people, and if you guys can go and play that way at Bristow Friday night, you guys could surprise some people.
We played them here last year. We kind of kept them in check that first quarter, and to give a big play, they called a timeout with less than 15 seconds to go in the first quarter because they were disappointed they weren't up more than 7-0. They come out of that timeout and threw an 80-some yard touchdown pass. History after that.
I remember that game, and after that, we had some fans. We were coming off the elevator after broadcasting the game. We had some of their fans stop us and told us that this was the toughest kids they'd played all year. That the kids
That says
were
a lot about that group
Yeah.
last year. I mean, we graduated some tough-nosed kids.
Yeah. And so I would like to hear that again this year from those fans because, it means something whenever, and I don't know if I even told you that was said to us, but, it means something whenever the other fans say good things about your kids.
Right, yeah.
Even though we lost that ball game last year, for them to come out and say that of all the teams they'd played, that these were the toughest bunch of kids they'd played.
We just hope that, from the coaching perspective and the true War Dogs, that these guys go out and represent us well one last time, knowing it's their last game. And, it's pretty easy to get loose and, get in some altercations that we shouldn't, but there's going to be repercussions, or if we can get it stopped before it happens, then these kids aren't going to have the opportunity to play. But,
Right.
We've kind of had that talk this week because, they're a reflection of us, whether they realize it or not. So.
Right. Yeah, and we've seen this several times this year too. Those little guys are watching you guys.
Right.
They see what you guys do and how you do it and how you go about it, and so they're learning all the time. They're learning from the guys that are watching out here now. So you're setting an example for those younger guys that are coming, and so some of them things you got to let go even though you don't want to. You got to let some of those things go in a ball game, and I know it gets heated on both sides sometimes, but when it comes to that retaliation, I mean, I know you've seen it many
Well, you're
times.
never going to win a fight in a football game as far as fist fight. You win on the scoreboard, and that's
Right.
what we've got to understand is no matter how bad it hurts as far as mentally, as far as the words that were said or whatever, then that's not the right time.
Right. Well, and you've probably seen it 100 times in your coaching career. That guy that retaliates gets caught 95% of the
Oh, yeah.
time.
A lot of times you got a chance to get gain a penalty yard or something, but then when you retaliate and even offset it, then it's
Right.
just as frustrating because you're just basically just cost yourself 15 yards that you would have gained rather than so.
All right, so you got anything else to say, Tanner?
No, not really.
No? You're wanting to go meet that girl we saw out here on the field, aren't you?
You go dye my hair pink.
This is the quietest I've ever been around Tanner. I'll have to Can we borrow these Friday night?
Yeah.
We put these on
Put,
him.
put one of these
Might-
on him.
He might go mute on us then too.
Just trying not to talk, and 'cause when I talk like this, I sound like I'm chewing on quarters or something. I don't know.
I've never chewed on quarters, so I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's you learned that from your dad.
Oh,
he,
yeah.
he said that saying before, hadn't he?
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, your mom and dad, they sat right down in front of our booth during the games and during the home games. And your dad standing up looking back at us all the time. And we can't hear him. There's glass in between us, but he's talking to us.
He's dumb. You can't listen to him.
And he's watching our show on his phone. And he'll turn around and talk to us through the glass, and we can't hear what he's. We don't understand what he's saying.
I know he's
And
something.
then he'll start texting me, or messaging me through the game. But it's pretty funny watching your family up here, because like I say, they all sit right there. Your grandpa and your uncle and your aunts, they're all sitting in front of us. It's pretty entertaining sometimes.
They're
Yeah,
great. They're great supporters as well. I mean, like we said, we like everything Tanner's brought to this program, but his family's got a good backbone about him, and you know the Booster Club's been doing things through the cafeteria and stuff like that for JV games and travel for junior high, and Tanner's mom's in charge of a lot of that. She's just great at what she does.
Yep. Yep, I forgot she runs that, doesn't she?
Yep.
All the food stuff for the whole district, right?
Yes.
Yep, I kind of knew that, but I forgot. All right, guys. Well, I guess we're going to sign off. Coach is past his bedtime. It's 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so we'll get this thing signed off and let Coach get home and get to bed. But, Tanner, we're pulling for you guys this week. We'll be there, of course, broadcasting the game. But, guys, again, if you can be out there to help support these kids, I know they appreciate it. If you can't be, then that's what we're here for. So, guys, good luck Friday night.
Thank you.
And go get us a win. Close this thing out right on these seniors.
Thanks for all you guys do.
You bet.
These kids appreciate it.
Yep, we appreciate them. All right, guys, thanks for logging on, and we'll see you Friday night.